people forget this all kind of stems back to the original issue, which was with Kino Casino. And, Kay, you've been very vocal about this and the takedown of their show, of their channels on YouTube from here, which has led to a lot of pressure, I would say, a lot of talk about Rumble, because the quartering is a big player over there. They paid him literally millions of dollars at this point. And we know that because he showed his Rumble dashboard, which shows well over $2 million in revenue from the last couple of years that he's been over there. First and foremost, that makes me want to puke. But second, I understand why people would say, hey, if this is your poster boy and he's acting this way, what do you have to say about it? Which that kind of culminated last night over on X, where we actually heard from the CEO of Rumble about that. But before we get to that, you need to know a little bit more about this story. So Chris, the CEO of Rumble, said this over on X. He said, free speech and AI will intersect at Rumble. They are investing in AI heavily over at Rumble. AI, crypto, things like that. Came in, says, you're willingly paying millions to a creator who is using his clout to cancel other creators over free speech. Okay, this then turned into a block from Chris Pavlovski. Okay, now Chris later said that this was a misunderstanding here. Right, he said this below. He says, I thought you were a bot. I'm getting hundreds of accounts with number usernames spamming me about the quartering. It's insane and irrelevant to my post. I unblocked you. So there we go, right? Which led to Extra Zero saying crazy thing about Chris Pavlovski blocked her for this, right? And once again, it did get unblocked and rectified and such. So there you have it, folks. Rumble is taking the side of a false flagging, grifting scumbag, the quartering, who is stealing other people's creators' content in a non-transformative way. We've talked about that at length. We've laughed about it extensively. But this is where things are interesting here, because Chris responded here. And this is like the first time we've seen a response from Chris. He said, no, I'm not taking sides. I don't get involved in creator drama. If I did, I'd waste my days dealing with thousands of Rumble creators. If YouTube cancels somebody, take it up with YouTube. It has nothing to do with Rumble. If someone on Rumble is for cancel culture, I absolutely don't agree with that, but that's their prerogative and their choice. But I definitely won't fall to pressure by canceling them back. In fact, we welcome whoever got canceled to Rumble. YouTube was a bad choice to begin with here. All right, so that was his response. And there's been a lot of conversation back and forth. Savvy, Extra Zero did respond. And look, this is not a, we've kind of said what we've said about this when it comes to Rumble, right? Personally, I don't think it's fair. Like, well, I want to put this in another, and I understand there's multiple layers to this, right? But I'm going to start with this very broad analogy, right? If Kay is streaming over on Twitch and Kay kicks a dog and is caught on camera, should he banned on Twitch for kicking a dog on something that didn't happen on the platform? Or if she did whatever, DLive or any other platform, should the actions of that have any repercussions on a relationship with this other platform? We've seen that happen on Twitch, where Twitch has banned people for doing things on other platforms. And we said it was bullshit then. And I don't think that they should have done that. And I think it would be bullshit now, right? So I personally don't think that Rumble should have, do I think it's fucking stupid, right? That Jeremy is using his clout allegedly to do these things? Yes, right? Should it affect his relationship with Rumble if the actions didn't take place on Rumble? No. That's my stance. Phoenix, yours.
Well, a lot of people are using the whole idea of, like, if Rumble is free speech, then how can you have this person that's obviously trying to silence speech? I'm on Rumble's side here in the same way that I would, if a commie who's obviously not for free speech wants to make a show on Rumble and they want to tell you why free speech is bad, let's say, and I'm Rumble, me personally, I would allow them that platform because I am free speech. I am so long as it's not breaking the law, so long as it's not breaking terms of service, etc. That's the whole point of free speech. It's the people I disagree with most that I've got to let them be heard, right? So in that case, like I'm with Rumble on this, I don't know why this would be their problem. I fail to understand that, especially, yes, they're a free speech platform. So their actions from beforehand, or whether they agree with free speech, has nothing to do with them. They merely provide the platform, and you do with it as you see fit. Again, so long as it's within terms of service and is not illegal. So I would be on their side. I don't understand why they're supposed to do something.
Now, let me say this. Does Rumble look, are they in a tough situation here? Yeah. Do they need to get ahead
I
of
don't
this?
think they are, because I think if you just do a blanket statement, it's like if there's going to be Klan people that I disagree with, but if I looked at their background, I'd be like, oh God, I got to give them a free speech, but I don't want to. No, it's blanket. We're here for free speech. You come and you say whatever the hell you want to say. Keep within terms of service. It's almost like taking it almost like a lawyer approach. You just blank out all that shit, because otherwise then it would be very hard to wake up every morning with all the shit that people want to say. And you just go, look, we're just a place that you can come to. That's it. We facilitate you being able to say and do as you see fit. I stay out of the content.
Right. And part of free speech is having, listening to what people, what others' opinions that you may not like. Now,
right.
There is another layer to this. He does have a partnership with Rumble, right? Rumble does pay him to produce content for them. Totally, 100% understand why people be like, yo, dude, this is your boy, right? Why would you not say anything about this, right? If this is one of your guys in your Mount Rushmore over here, right? You probably should make a statement about it, right? But once again, it happened off platform, and people are going to take this and they're going to be like, "Oh, you're defending Rumble, blah blah blah," right? But first, Kate, what do you think about all this?
My opinion is very aggressive on this. One, and I speak only for myself, and I'm going to make this very clear. This is my personal opinion. Okay. One, I think it's completely bitch made of Chris to be blocking people on Twitter and hiding replies of people bringing up the quartering, and then running it back and saying, oh, I thought you were a bot. I think that's pretty bitch made, but whatever. He unblocked her. Sure. Now, if you're somebody from the outside and you're interested in Rumble, and all you hear about Rumble is, we're the free speech platform, and you see a CEO acting like that, it's going to turn you off from the platform. Now, where I don't agree is people giving a bunch of pressure on Rumble that they need to cut ties with the quartering. I think that Kino Casino should be allowed to be on Rumble. I think quartering should be allowed to be on Rumble. I don't think that Rumble should have to denounce the quartering at all. But I understand why people are concerned, because you're ultimately an advocate for a free speech platform. And on top of that, the biggest thing was quartering was caught in DMs with Josh Moon saying that he was going to flex his connections to ruin Kino's life and take all of their platforms. So now you have this added layer of, okay, well, he has a connection to Rumble. So what if he did end up going to Chris and saying, hey, don't let Kino go on Rumble? But like, that's a genuine concern that this guy is literally flexing his connections with other platforms. So I don't believe that, like, I think they should both be on the platform. I agree, like, in the sense that I get why Chris wants to stay hands off. I think the best platforms are the ones where it's free speech and you stay hands off and you let everyone act out and do their thing and call it a day. Mm-hmm. But where people are concerned is that the quartering is threatening to flex his connections, and he has a connection to the free speech platform. That is the issue.
I agree. I think if you are looking at Rumble from the outside in and you see kind of the pressure that's being applied to them, right? I do feel like they need to, I think that they can respond better to this, right? Maybe it's something like, hey, we don't agree with what he did, but he's our partner. We're going to stand by him. Or, whatever statement you want to make, you should probably make it publicly. And I totally understand with Chris saying, I don't want to deal with anybody's bullshit, right? Because people ask us all the time. They ask me in particular, they go, what do you think about this? I'm like, I don't know. I don't, it's not my job to keep track of everyone's drama and everyone's friendships and everyone's bullshit, right? So I totally understand that. But I want to touch on something that you said, Kay, right? Of the quartering kind of flexing over here. The idea it goes to, I guess these are leaked DMs here between this guy you're talking about. This, you said Josh Moon, is that what you said?
Yeah, Kiwi Farms.
Okay. So I guess this is between them. And this is what I wanted to key on here, because this is honestly pretty shitty. When you zoom in here, you can see what he's talking about here, the quartering in particular, right? Never had an issue with these people until they start really don't care. Talking about having a truce, right? Here. So he says, I assume all these messages will be public, but like Andy, just get rid of all the fucking video. The videos claiming I let some F my wife, and they will continue to make 10K a month on YouTube, and I move on. And they continue to spread disgusting lies about my family. I have no choice but to react. It's time for them to make a business decision. This is a win-win. Now, this is the piece down here, which is interesting. I can burn it all down. I have 5 years guaranteed salary at Rumble. If they balk, it's not on you, and I'll still support Kiwi Farms. Broker the ceasefire, and everybody wins. Okay? This is what people like locked in on. A 5-year deal at Rumble, right? And what was interesting about this was he was pushed on this here by this guy talking about this in particular, to which Chris responded, says, no creator has a 5-year deal with Rumble or even close. Also, Rumble's been moving away from, quote, deal structure towards a creator program structure and or Rumble Studio ad read structure. Hope this helps. So this right here, coming from the CEO saying no creator has a 5-year deal with Rumble, blatantly flies in the face of that statement from the quartering right here. This right here, I have a 5-year guaranteed salary with Rumble, which like that's being caught in 4K when it comes to the lie right there. Why do you think that is? Why do you think he's lying when it comes to something like this?
Because he wants to feel like the big guy, that he's got all the power in the world. And if anyone says anything to hurt his feelings, that he can get their speech removed and ruin their lives. And I just want to remind people that the Kino Casino Clips channel is still down at this moment. And that was owned by the editor of Kino Casino. And that person currently does not have an income because of the quartering going after that, potentially, allegedly, because the DMs of him threatening it are not enough proof for people, which to me, it's very suspicious that you threaten that. And a few days later, that happens. So the reason why he's doing that and trying to make it all feel bigger is because he was trying to strong arm Josh and PPP and Worski into being afraid so that they would stop talking about him. But he should understand how the internet works because he's been around for over a decade doing this kind of stuff. It's just going to make people talk more. And that's why I think it's good that people are talking about this and are focusing on the fact that he's acting like a bitch.
Mally, you've listened to all this. I don't know if you've been in with, been in tune with everything that's been going on. What are your thoughts on all this?
I've been quietly watching. Excuse her.
Okay.
So, I have a lot of thoughts on the whole thing. I very much agree about the comments about Rumble and the CEO, and kind of just things could have definitely been handled better. A little bit of PR help probably could do everybody a little bit good in that situation. As far as Jeremy himself, his choices, like where he's at now, you asked like why lie about that stuff.
Right.
I think the only reason that like anyone lies is because they're afraid of the truth. It's the only reason you lie is because you don't like what the truth is, so you have to make something up. And when you are, and I'm not even talking about him specifically, this is just anybody who's acting like this, when you are an insecure person, you will have a knee-jerk reaction to people saying things about you that you don't like or that make you feel more insecure. And so the whole part about, as his DMs, I guess, said, is that this came from a place of, yeah, I know, honey. This came from a place of like his wife being attacked. And that's awful. Like, don't get me wrong. I get very defensive of my family and loved ones too. I don't want to hear bad things being said about the people I love. It's easier to take it yourself than hear it about those you love. Of course, I get that. Nothing that was said, though, justified the reaction, much like what Phoenix said. No laws were broken, at least to my knowledge. No doxing occurred. No laws were broken. Nothing happened except people's feelings getting hurt. And it's a very, in my opinion, very liberal mentality and behavior to go after somebody because they said words that hurt your feelings. Pretending like that is actually affecting your life or is violent is stupid. And I think he has perpetuated this drama himself, and he needs to just kind of get off the internet for a bit, if that would do him some good.
I look at this whole thing as, for me, all this is ones and zeros. I look at everything with ones and zeros. I remove as much emotion as I possibly can. And like, I still do not understand why this is a Rumble problem. I do not understand it. Like, if he had came to Rumble, right? And now he's trying to get Rumble channels deplatformed. Now I understand how this is a Rumble issue. I totally get that. That I'm 100% on board with. What he did on other platforms, that I'm not understanding. It's not Rumble's job as far as free speech. Again, I look at free speech as literal free speech. Let's get a channel called I Want to Take Away Your Free Speech. And the way I look at it is I need to give you a platform. Okay? That's how much I believe in free speech. So, okay, whatever. That's what he does. He's got a history of taking channels down. Okay, that's fine. But did he do it on this particular platform? Not yet. Well, then, as far as I see it, Rumble does not have. I don't know why anyone's attacking Rumble for that particular thing. If he does that, now I understand it, and then I think that needs to be investigated.
I agree.
I agree with most of what you're saying, Phoenix. The thing is that in those DMs, he's bragging about his 5-year deal with Rumble, so he's fine. So he can keep flexing this and doing whatever he wants and trying to cancel campaign and ruin people's lives and take them down. He's the big guy in the room because I'm getting all this Rumble money. So again, I don't agree with the idea of Rumble denouncing him or taking him off their platform or anything. I don't think they're responsible for that. But I think there is a voice that is very valid that says, you are the free speech platform. You are paying this guy. He represents you. And he is flexing his deal with you and saying, I can do whatever I want because Rumble's paying me. I'm good. My pockets are lined. I think that's a very valid concern. I'm not saying that Rumble has to take action on that, but I think the criticism towards Rumble is very valid, that people can be voicing that.
My response to it would be like, I'm, as a CEO or whatever, I'm never going to listen to what you just said until there's a court of law. Like, I'm not just going to go by some fucking screenshot and then
totally
go, well,
fine.
now I'm going to. So, I mean, if that is something that needs to be done, like, fine, then that needs to go through the legal process. But I can't make decisions based off of people arguing on the internet.
Right.
You know?
I agree. And that is his job to be like, look, this is where I stand. Both people can be on. I thought his response to Extra Zero was actually pretty strong. Like, he's saying, look, they can all be on the platform. I don't want to deal with this creator drama. Like I said earlier, too, I think it's best when the CEO is like uninvolved and he just kind of lets everything happen. And that's the best free speech platform you can have, is where the CEO doesn't get in the mud with people. But it looks bad when you're blocking creators who are like replying to you on Twitter, showing a valid concern. It's an optics issue.
Once again, I think the block was totally an accent. That's my personal thought, right? And I try to put myself in his shoes, getting bombarded by people saying, oh, fuck you, right. And they have numbers in their names or whatever. So he's just blocking people, move them, block, right? And for him to go back and unblock, right, I think shows that, okay, yeah, right. It was an error, right? And he recognizes that. I do think that Chris believes very much in the mission of free speech, right? His actions have showed that over the years. And I think it's fair to give people the reasonable, benefit of the doubt when it comes to something like that. He said, look, I fucked up. Sorry. I thought you were a bot. It is what it is. Right now, let me back up really quick. People are like, where are the consequences? Right. He should be fired. Look, I don't like Jeremy as far as I can throw him. Right. I don't like him. I don't respect him. I think he is a hack. I think that he steals content. I don't think he's talented. I can't be more clear. I think he's the worst kind of content creator you can possibly be, right?
What do you think about that, Craig?
Just being honest, right? I don't think he's talented at all. I think he's a manipulator. I think that he's done an exceptional job of making a career out of being a narcissist and as we say the term all the time, an insecure narcissist, and it shows. My channel's under the attack, right? We've been through this, but I don't think he should be released from his Rumble contract. Let's go back 5 years. 5 years when Gina Carano was fired from The Mandalorian for something she did off, not on Disney time, right? Not on, on a Disney set. She posted something on social media and she got fired for it. And at the time, and she has been proven with a settlement, she's seen money for that. At the time, everybody blew up. How the fuck can you fire somebody for something they did not on your platform, right? All she did was post this, whether you agree or whatever, right? And everybody blew up. We've seen instances of this. And hopefully, we're at least being consistent in this situation where we don't think that somebody who does something off a platform should be punished for a relationship they have with another company, right? Unless it's like absolutely egregious, they go out and murder somebody or whatever, right? But I hope that you can see the line that I'm trying to draw here when it comes to the correlation between these two things. You got to have standards when it comes to this. And if you think that it's bogus that Gina Carano got fired for something she did not on Disney time, on her personal social media, right? Not on a Disney platform, then you got to kind of feel the same way about what's going on with Rumble and the quartering here, right? And any other platform in a situation like this. At least I'd hope. Now, some people are going to be blinded by it and go, oh, fine, right? And I get it, right? Do I think that Jeremy, like I said, I've said my thoughts about him, but it is what it is. Anybody else got any closing thoughts?
I was just going to add that anybody who's advocating for somebody to be taken down on Rumble over something like this does not understand the point of Rumble. We are all on the same page of doxing is bad, breaking the law is bad, hurting other people is bad. If you're not doing that, do whatever you want. Like, why should you be shut down just because you're acting a fool? You're going to lose your traction and lose your audience all on your own. If anything, the only thing that shutting somebody's voice down who's not doing one of those three things does is make it look like you're afraid of what they have to say. I'm not afraid of anything he has to say. I think he can keep doing his show and keep doing whatever he wants, all he wants, and he'll get exactly the kind of attention that he's, going for by doing that. Everybody deserves that. So yeah, as far as the Rumble side of it goes, I don't think that anybody who's not hurting people, doxing, breaking laws everybody should be allowed here. Make your content, do your thing. If you're a jerk, you're a jerk. People will see it.
Plays Saga. I mean, I see your comments. I let the quartering destroy people's channels because of my principles, right? If you don't have principles, then what are you doing? Like, it's not my job to enforce that contract, right? Or to, it's not my job. Sorry, like it's not. Do I agree with what he did? Absolutely not. What he allegedly did.
You need to really hang on that allegedly. We don't even know.
Yeah, we
anything.
Don't even know exactly.
You can't just the internet said so.
Right.
At the very least, this needs to have some kind of trial or something. Has to be of actual evidence here before you can even make a statement.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
I don't fully agree, but I'm not going to drag on the rest of the show with my opinion. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely think there's evidence
I know
of the fact that
stand
somebody doesn't have
different,
income
honestly.
because of this. Like, that's a real world effect. But again, didn't happen on Rumble. Rumble shouldn't be concerned with it.
Well, look, and once again, full transparent. On Monday, I'm in Florida. I'm doing this show from Rumble, right? Like, full transparency here. Like, we have a relationship with them. The fact that we're even talking about this maybe is I'm sure people are like, oh, tread lightly, right? But it wouldn't be fair to you guys for us to not talk about this thing, as this has been something that we've been talking about all week, right? So we talk about that in fairness to you, whether you agree with our opinions on it or not. It's totally your prerogative. But I'd like to think we've at least been consistent with all this as we've gone along. So